Hey everybody, this is Nightwatch Nate. Guess that's what I'm going by these days. So yeah, I just purchased this cool little vintage travel trailer, and it's been remodeled. I think one time the guy replaced the ceiling because it's like now it's a full-blown like corrugated metal roofing like you put on a house. But this is what I've got, and it should work as a pretty good studio. I'm thinking I need to do a little soundproofing. Get the foam insulation on a few key areas like this window that's letting in all this noise right now. And it's got plenty of ventilation. But yeah, when it comes down to recording time, I'll have to bar up all the windows, cover them up. I just wanted to share with you all some of the ideas I was inspired by on the way home today. And I was hauling water because that's what we got to do up here in the Rocky Mountains. It's really dry right now, and we got visitors, so it's like literally every other day for me. Yep, guess who's the guy getting all the water? But not complaining. But so I had some time to think on the way home, and I had the radio going. I usually have radio on, and music was blaring. It got me thinking a little bit. Let me flash back for a moment. Last night, early in the morning, I had just finished up with some little bit of video editing for a kind of a unpaid sponsorship, I guess you could say. I visited a business partner of ours, Phoenix Weaponry in Berthoud, Colorado. Talked to the owner, founder, CEO, and just struck up a conversation. Got a chance to look at all his cool big boy toys and really neat stuff. Something to look out for. Should be a lengthy video, probably about 40 minutes or so, because I did a lot of walking through their facilities. They make like custom guns for people, high end. I think at one point, like he said, they want to be the Ferrari of guns. But totally different topic, off track. Where did I go? How did I get to that? Yeah. So that's what I was doing last night. And I tried to go to sleep. It was super early in the morning. And let me get some water. I guess I had so much on my mind because, this is what I do lately. Research, study the enemy, I guess you could say. Try to counter the narrative. Counter the co-intel. Counter information. Just put the truth out as best as I can within my capacity. And I don't know, maybe it's finally getting to me, but I had a problem sleeping, and I wouldn't call it a panic attack. It was just more like a uneasiness, nervousness, and my mind was just flooded with thoughts because so much is happening right now. That's what a lot of people who may not be paying attention as much as some of us out here. A lot is being shoved through right now. A lot is being pushed. I think everybody feels it on some level. They know something's going on. People who aren't so much religious or spiritual, aren't so much, I don't know, well-read on the Bible, you might say. They feel something. They feel an anxiety. I know a lot of people right now that are just bugging out. They don't know necessarily where they're going. They just know they have to go someplace. They have to get out of here. And I can relate to that feeling, trust me. I mean, if I had the means, I'd be gone. I'd take this thing, pack up all my equipment, and hit the road. But at this point anyway, that'd be a pretty cool lifestyle. I wouldn't mind living it, but at this point I don't have the kind of income stream, the revenue to afford that kind of lifestyle, just to pay for gas alone and food, everything else you need to survive. Maybe someday. That's the goal that I'm trying to work towards, but everybody knows something is not right? I mean, it's obvious at this point. Before, back in the day, I remember not too long ago, 20 years ago, maybe, a couple decades, I would be considered the conspiracy theorist because I was kind of being the watchman on the wall. I was pointing out the lies and the propaganda as I saw it. And, you know, if you have that prophetic lens, that insight that you get from studying Bible prophecy, you realize where things are headed. And when these strange things happen, these crises and these power grabs by government and further erosion of our civil liberties, all these things are adding up to a climax, right? And if you know the beginning from the end, as far as we can know from the Bible, you know what's behind all this. So back in the day, I was a conspiracy nut, right? Like, warning people. You know, I wasn't like out on the street corner or anything like that with a sign saying the end is near, but anybody I talked to, you know, kind of known as Conspiracy Nate, you know, that's just usually the topic of choice. That's what fascinated me. But now, more than anything, I'm calling out BS when I see it. I realize that they're trying to create a fear climate because people don't think logically, rationally when they're enslaved to fear emotion. And with this pandemic right now, quote unquote, because I don't even think it is quite at a pandemic level. I just heard a couple weeks ago that it was going to be downgraded because it doesn't even qualify as a pandemic anymore from these, like, you know, so quote unquote expert agencies like the CDC. Whatever happened to that? Still seems like we're living in a pandemic climate, right? So personally, I consider myself the voice of moderation right now by calling out the BS and pointing out how the mainstream narrative, media, all these officials are pumping up fear on a daily basis to control people, to cripple us, and to grab more power. And like I posted on Fakebook recently, isn't it a nice little get out of jail free card to just blame COVID for everything? It's a good way to immunize all the officials for all their wrongful actions right now, destroying people's lives, small businesses just getting wrecked right now. the guy who sold me this trailer is moving out of the state because they're talking about banning weddings, and he does weddings, right? DJ in weddings. On every level, they're waging full assault on everything America. Capitalism, freedom, civil liberties. This is not by mistake. This is not by chance. There's nothing about this virus that justifies this kind of overreaction and overreach by our elected officials. Okay? In any case, to sum everything up, I guess. On the way home, after that experience last night, I had to catch myself, and I was like, man, I gotta just let my mind shut down, go to sleep. Like I said, it wasn't a panic attack, but it was like a nervousness and an unease. I don't like that feeling. I usually have a pretty calm demeanor, and I'd like to hope anyway that I have that peace that surpasses the peace of the world. Knowing who is my God and knowing His will for me and my life and His promises. They can destroy this body, but He can always raise it back up again. So I don't fear man. I don't fear these little tyrants that are popping up everywhere right now, it sure seems like. So on the way home today, one more drink. On the way home today, I had this idea that, there's nothing but noise. Like, I swear, some of the music today, talk about brainwashing, talk about mind control. And I thought, most of us, we turn the radio on while we're driving. We listen to some, yeah, it's great, whatever, music. I love music. I make music, so I can't complain, but so much of the music today has been so dumbed down, purposefully, by the way. And the lyrics are just so mindless. And I'm like, on the way home, I'm like, why am I filling my mind with this stuff right now? It's just a distraction. It's just more noise and confusion. At that moment, I swear, this is not just an act. This is not just me trying to get YouTube hits or views, whatever. I turned the radio off, and as soon as I turned the radio off, I was just hit with Bible verses that I had, read a long time ago. I don't know how many years ago. And 3 verses prominently struck me. Be still, know I am God. Lean not on your own understanding, and think on these things. And I can post the full Bible verse later, if and when I edit this video. Actually, the correct order, I think, was lean not on your own understanding. Be still and know I am God. And think on these things. And kind of in combination with that was this idea I had maybe for a future video, future post, of just right now, there's like this connection I've been making on. I never actually watched the movie, and it's probably not the best thing to watch, not recommended for the kids out there, but the movie The Purge, right? The whole concept behind that movie, I've heard it described by several other talk show hosts. And if you think about it, there's a huge purge going on right now, right? It's the purge. You got people walking around on the streets with masks, concealing their identities, committing crimes, burning down cities, just letting out all that rage. You get governors of different states like California, Newsom, releasing prisoners because they're concerned they might catch COVID. So by the tens of thousands, prisoners are being released into the streets, right? Job losses, record highs. All these people don't have jobs, and they've been kept indoors for the past several months. So what are they going to do, right? Ride in the streets, destroy things, vandalize, rob, loot. Everybody's angry, okay? I'm angry, okay? You can't tell maybe, but I'm livid because I know, like I said, I know from not only Bible prophecy, but some of the quotes of the founding fathers, and just read your history of what happens to a country. Look at how common a republic is and how long it typically lasts. And it's not very long, and we can see it right now crumbling on all sides, all around us. And like I've been saying on these different social media platforms, right now they are trying to burn down America, and they want, out of the ashes, a global government to emerge. Okay? That doesn't mean that the whole country is going to burn down, and not even necessarily that the whole economy might be wrecked. And, not everybody's going to be out on the street corners, kicked out of their homes. They might not even resort to that. Just enough to get us to submit to their New World Order, which we've known from Bible prophecy is prophesied to happen, right? So, I'm not like typically anyway, emotionally unstable. I'm not like a super mushy kind of guy. But in that moment of silence, driving on the way home, as silent as it can be, driving a diesel truck. But I was moved to tears. And the type of tears that you can't fight back, right? Because the truth of the Bible, just, there's a reason why it's called the living word, and it is still alive today. And it was, in my opinion, inspired by the living God, the Alpha and the Omega, who transcends time and space. Through his word, through his truth, he can still touch us today. He can still change our lives. And so the whole thought process that I was on at the time on the way home, just a few minutes ago, I just kind of cleaned up my act to make this video. I was still moved by the whole experience. So the whole thought process was, I got to put out these ideas about, there's a purge going on, right? And we know that time is short. Anybody that believes in the Bible and knows how history has been laid out from the beginning to the end through his word. And so there's a purge going on multiple levels. There's a line being drawn clearly in the sand right now. The Bible has a bunch of different descriptions of when we're approaching the very end of time, when these superficial people who proclaim Christ will be separated from the true followers, right? And there's the wheat and the tares, the wheat and the chaff, the sheep and the goats. The tougher that things get, the more people's true characters will be revealed, and the more apparent it will be who the true Christians are, who the ones who really believe and really follow, what they preach, what they proclaim. I think it was recent polls still put Americans at like 70-80% quote-unquote Christian. No, it's never been that way throughout world history. There's always been a small, narrow is the way, right? Narrow is the gate, and wide is the way, is the road to perdition, to destruction. And that's the world that, the adversary has created right now. It's really, really easy to go the wrong way, to turn our back on Christ. Wow, it just got quiet. That's nice. Neighbors have a fan going in their greenhouse, so. So it's real easy to turn our back, to be doubting Thomases, to be Peter's, betray Christ. Betray Christ, is what I meant to say. It didn't take much after Christ was crucified for Peter to deny that he ever knew him. And how do we do that today, right? Not just by not proclaiming to be Christian or quoting your Bible verses on social media. How we deny him is by not walking according to his example, right? Those that love me do what I tell them to do, is what he says. Not in word only, but doers of the word. Those are his true followers. And so my idea was, during this time, and it is a time of like fiery trial we're all going through right now. We knew it was coming, right? If we've been studying the Bible at all, prophecy, hopefully, some of you out there, we knew it was coming. And it's just going to get tougher. And right now, I kind of had this other idea, just take in the light while you can, because a great darkness is coming on the earth. So just, the word is supposed to be like the bread, right? Like every morning I'm hungry, and a common staple of most American diet is a piece of toast in the morning, right? With egg or whatever, bacon, whatever it is you eat. For the Hebrew people, every morning the women would grind the flour and make the bread. So the word is like your breakfast in the morning, right? And how many of us, me included, rarely ever read the Bible anymore? And we should take things more seriously. The more serious the situation gets, the closer we get to the end times. When we see society breaking down, when we see weird weather events, when we see tyrannical government rising up, threatening our civil liberties. more serious we should get about God. So, yeah, this whole concept, I'll get back to it now, the whole concept of the purge. I want to encourage people, myself included. I mean, I always set these like time frames. I don't know, a week? How about a week? We could try it. And then if you like it, you can just go on for 2 weeks, and then maybe 3. But like for a week, just to shut off all the noise. Because this is a spiritual war right now. And there's a war on for your mind, you know. And we fill our lives with so much noise, we have no thought space left. And that verse, be still, know I am God. Right? That still small voice that's trying to speak to our conscience. You know, what makes us human, our frontal lobes. God is still trying to communicate with us. But we crowd him out with all this noise and all this media and all this propaganda. So I'm still not sure what I'm going to call it, what I want to call it. Probably put the video out, hopefully shortly. Media purge or political purge, propaganda purge. That's kind of catchy, kind of long though. But everything, you know. Those three verses came to my mind. Lean not on your own understanding. You know, the heart is deceitful above all things. You know, you think you might be in the right cause right now. I hear a lot of people talking about, you know, mob justice on both sides. Right? I mean, aren't all these criminals out on the street deserving of, quote unquote, like getting their head bashed in? Sure, maybe. But, you know, vengeance is the Lord's, and if we resort to the same tactics we're playing into the game, the left-right paradigm, you know, trust me, if we're complicit in creating more chaos, we'll play right into the dialectical process, right? Like problem, reaction, solution. They'll always have a solution, trust me. If we can't govern ourselves, you know, if we can't be adults and control our own emotions, then the government will step in and say, all right, well, you can't be trusted with freedom anymore, so we'll take it away from you. They're always happy to do that, and that's exactly how it plays into their game. And the whole left-right thing, right? You know, I mean, everybody out there knows my politics, I think, by now, pretty much where I lean politically, although I don't personally choose, like, total party loyalty to either side, because I know how the game's played. I've seen it over my lifetime. Both sides are guilty. Both sides are corrupt. Both sides are filthy, just drowning in money from, you know, special interest and who knows where else. Anyway, so don't just be a pawn in their game, okay? They're trying to create instability in this country. They're trying to create chaos. They're trying to create a climate of just total anarchy, just destruction from within. That's what they're trying to do with us right now. They're trying to destroy this country from within. A controlled demolition, implosion of America. And of course it's not right what people are doing. Camera stopped. My bad. Alright, so of course it's not right what people are doing. You know, my question is, where's the law and order? Like, how hard is it to arrest these people, to lock them up? Why are they just being allowed to roam around in the streets, destroying whole cities, personal property of people who've like spent their lives building small businesses, destroying statues, removing every remnant of our history. Why? That's what we should all be asking right now. The police, multiple times now, on video, on record, they've said this is all we can do. We've been given orders to just let these people run rampant. These dogs. So the real question is, why? Why are they allowing this chaos right now to occur? Why is this chaos being allowed on the streets of America? Unpoliced, basically. Order ab chaos. Order out of chaos. Create the problem. You have the solution, or the people react. Create the problem, people react, and they're just begging for a solution. Oh, and guess what? You already had that solution planned out before you created the problem. That's how it works. Every time. Look at that pattern. Watch the news. Go back a couple years in history. If you still have any memory left outside of your devices, which most people don't seem to have anymore. Remember how all this stuff has happened over and over and over again? Never let a good crisis go to waste. Rahm Emanuel. That is their line of thinking. That's what gives the government purpose. That's what gives them power. Is to keep us continually on the edge, on the breaking point, fearful, imaginary monsters under the bed, keeping us paralyzed with fear. We always need somebody to keep us safe, don't we? You see, if we were true Christians, if we were true believers, if we had that faith, like some of the martyrs, the disciples of Christ who suffered unimaginable persecution, the countless people that were thrown to the lions in the Colosseums in Rome. If we had that kind of true faith, we wouldn't be afraid of a virus you can't see any evidence of with your own eyes. Okay? Love casts out all fear. I'm not fearless, trust me. Certain things, a few times, I've been scared of a situation. Look death in the face. But I think that peace that only God can give you is, what the world cannot give you is the assurance that, we have a purpose and we were created by a loving God who cares about every detail. And yes, every one of us is unique and we have a purpose on this earth. And such a God as that who can create us so intricately, every little minute detail, fearfully and wonderfully made, that same God He can rewind time, He's beyond time and space. He can recreate us. He can give us new bodies. So, that makes staring into the grave a little less fearful. I'm not saying that I'm looking forward to it. I don't want to die. But I know everybody dies. We're all finite. This life is far too short. I was just thinking about, 20 years ago, just about, was 9/11, right? Isn't that crazy? Seems like such a short time ago. And that's how these people think. That's how they operate, okay? They think in long periods of time, decades. And that's what most people don't think. You're living in this bubble right now that you've grown accustomed to. This is America, right? This is normal. This is normality. That's not the America of 2 decades ago, okay? if they would have tried to pull the same crap that they're pulling today, it would not have flied. People would have not put up with it. It's gradualism. That's how they operate. We're being trained throughout this plague climate, this manufactured crisis. We are being trained. But we fill our heads with so much noise these days. And we don't have any time, we don't have any room for God or His Word. And that is what really struck me on the way home. Like I said it multiple times. I had to fight back the tears because it hit me so hard that, you know what? It's true. Every waking moment, so many people I know, and sometimes I'm the same way. I'm a little different than a lot of people because I live up in the mountains and I enjoy nature. And I'm always working on things, little projects, kind of a tinker, handyman, and so maybe more than most, I live my life in silence, I guess, where my mind can keep generating all these ideas. If anybody's noticed, I got a lot of ideas, but for some people, and I feel for you, living in the cities, going to work every day, meeting people on the street, you get in your car, you turn the radio on, you get home, you turn the TV on, Netflix, whatever it is, there's always something keeping your mind distracted, keeping you busy, right? So what if we just, for a week, just 1 week to start with, maybe next time it'll be 2, and we'll build up from there, but just to start out with, like 1 week, a media purge, turn it off, disconnect, Of course, I'm not saying my materials, but I'm just joking. The main thrust of the idea was just stop filling our minds with pointless babble, and like I said, the listening to the local radio station and what flies for music these days. And I was thinking about how these people and a lot of them know it. Like the big musicians, they know that they are like the priests of the modern day. They have a message, right? They're up on their pulpit. Remember that Madonna Super Bowl concert where she came out like a goddess and she was being carried around by she looked like an Egyptian pharaohess or whatever you want to call it. And she had a full-blown colored people, not an orchestra, but a choir, all dressed up like a big church service. She knew exactly what the message was. She knows her role. Okay? As a little whore of Babylon, the harlot, a little minstrel of Babylon, she knows her role. And a lot of these really big pop stars, Jay-Z, Beyonce, all those guys. What was the other one that came riding literally out on a beast for the Super Bowl? I'm gonna forget her name now. I don't care. Anyway, realize that they're using every media right now to control your mind, and especially the most impressionable in society, the youth. And I mean, I remember when I was a kid, music was like everything, right? Music was like everything. Now I rarely listen to music. But how impressionable and how important it is to young people. Music. So they know that they're basically priestesses, whatever, preachers, and they have a message to give young people in particular. And I'm listening to this modern music, and it's like the most mindless gibberish. And I swear the way that they have dumbed down all these different art forms, like, it's so repetitive, it's so childlike, right? There's like one line repeated over and over and over again, and there's like this just obnoxious and the style of singing is just like sounds like a little kid whining or something. I mean, there's no, you know how the effect music has on, like, they've done studies on plants, right? Like classical music, they grow great. Rock and roll, noise, they're like all stunted, right? Think of what this does to your brain. And just think of the fact that you're crowding out your capacity to think things through on a deeper level. And maybe come up with solutions, or maybe spend the time to talk with God, or, you know, even just plan for the future. Like, what are we going to do tomorrow? What are we going to, you know, how are we going to build this business? How are we going to ever retire? Or, you know, set a goal. Think it through, point by point. We continually are bombarded by noise. And I think it's a means to control us and keep us in this state, this disabled state. There's a war on for our minds, and I'm just asking people, heartfelt, from the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of my soul, and hopefully being led by the Spirit, asking everybody to just quiet their minds a little bit, think on the good things, think on all those things that are uplifting, that are wholesome, that are of God, and stop filling our minds with just the ugliness of humanity. It's just like the verse in the days of Noah, and their minds were continually on sin. And that's a key factor, I think, in a lot of these devices and media. You look at the kids today and how they spend almost their entire day on these devices. It is not healthy at all. It's total mind control. They were just inebriated on these devices, on the media. And we need to stop it. We need to start getting more serious about the times in which we live, about what's happening in the world, more serious about our God, and, you know, how much do we really believe and follow you know, what we've been given, the truth that we have been given about our purpose in this world and the God that we serve, for all those Christians out there in particular. Some ideas to think about. Yeah, let's just purge, okay? 1 week of purge from the media, all the politics. Politics is in everything. I spend so much of my time thinking of politics, as everybody knows, and man, sometimes I saw a post today on the fake book, and I forgot who it was now, but it was like a bunny sprawled out in the grass, and it was like, this is just a bunny butt. That's all it is. Nothing political. And it's just a funny way of saying, you know, my reply was, yeah, but they'll turn that into something political. Because everything right now is political. And it's for a reason that everything is political. They want everybody. I saw a recent poll on the internet about who are for masks wearing and who are against mask wearing. And it's literally surprising to me, but whatever. Right down the middle. Just about 50-50. Isn't that, you think that's just coincidence? That like every election, left or right down the middle. Divided. Divide and conquer. That's where they want us. That's where we're weakest. Is when we can't unite as a majority on the same basic principles that make this country great against those who are destroying this country openly in political offices, like elected officials who proclaim to be anti-American and against and hate capitalism, right? Like that little lady in Minnesota. Omar, I think. Who hopefully won't win re-election this year or whatever. But we need to clear our minds. That's all I'm saying. And leave room for God. Because things are just going to get worse. Things are going to get nastier, uglier. I mean, trust me, you think Twitter looks bad right now? How it just amplifies the ugliness of humanity? It is going to get bad. And I, for one, if I had kids, I would almost want to monitor what they watch and what they get into on the internet, because it is going to get so revolting and sickening. Times in which the world has never seen. I mean, we've been forewarned of this in the scripture. And men's hearts failing them for fear. Literally. And that's not too far away. So, I think we're living in very interesting times, and the times are short and just getting shorter. And we've even been told that God will cut short the time. Because if he didn't, there'd be no life left on this earth. And so I think everybody needs to just stop living in fantasy. I know a lot of people are into Netflix. I thankfully don't have it. And I know there's so many good shows out there to watch, right? Like, I'm constantly hearing from people like, gotta watch this show, man. I'm like, dude, I don't have time. I don't have time for a series that'll take up, all summer to finish watching. I'm sorry, I just don't, and I don't care to. Because after a while, you get so much fantasy. And I used to be like a fantasy artist, painter, okay? And I love, like, comic book art, and I love, I love Lord of the Rings, the movie, and there are some really good movies out there. But I'm just saying, after a while, if that's all you fill your mind with, you start to lose touch with reality, okay? If all you fill your mind with is fantasy, and literally, like a lot of people do, they just start relating everything they see in the real world to all these movies. I saw this movie, and it's kind of like that movie I saw. It's like, no, this is reality, and it's great, but this is reality. And let's start living like it's reality, and let's start living like we only have one life, at least till the judgment. We only have one life to live, and it's short. It's like a vapor. It's over in no time. And what are we doing with it? And are we doing everything in our capacity to stand against evil right now and stand for what's right and true, and to teach others about the truth, about God, and about, the Messiah, the only way out. The only way, really, out of this world. And the promise of life eternal. So many people love life, so many people love nature. So many people love things of the world, but if they saw their life in the blink, in the scale of human history, if if they saw how short their lives really were, I think they'd take things more seriously. I don't know. Ask bigger questions. Stop wasting their time with nonsense, noise, silliness, stupidity. You know, I'm a joker myself sometimes, and I'm always one to crack a joke, but, you know, if we just fill our minds with sarcasm and see everything as just being one big joke, then you have no purpose left. You have to have something in which you believe in to live for and to aim for, to shoot for. So, I know this, as usual, got a little wordy today, but kind of getting comfy in here. This little trailer's pretty nice. And the sound isn't too bad. It's just I got my windows open so you can hear every car drive by. And everybody seems to be coming home right now, so end of the day. But yeah, just my wish, my prayer, my challenge. I think that's a thing with kids today, right? The so-and-so challenge. Okay, my challenge, whatever you want to call it, is let's just purge the noise, the confusion, all these little products of Babylon. Purge the media. Purge the politics. Purge the propaganda out of our lives. Clear our minds. Think on bigger things, greater things. You know, I'm not saying you can't like listen to a podcast now and then that makes you think, hint hint. But just the mindless filling of mind space, I guess, with noise. That is 99% of the time what you get from any media source. Social media, mainstream media. We need to try to kind of detox. Because there is a war on for our minds. There is a spiritual war going on right now, and the heat is getting cranked up. It's getting hotter and hotter. Whether you want to acknowledge it or not, whether you're even Christian or religious at all, you know something's going on in the world. It's getting clearer and clearer, more and more obvious. Now, whatever you want to attribute that to, hey, free country. What I'm saying is this has all been foretold. This is prophecy being fulfilled. And there will be a one world order. For me to say that, some people might think, well, why do you fight against it so much? Because I know the more and more we give away those original founding principles, that original system of government that has kept us safe from tyranny, from such authoritarianism, from such centralized power rising up, that system is worth fighting for, is worth defending. You know, if we can stall, do everything within our power, I think we'll be judged on, the Bible's clear that we'll be judged on our works, what we do in this life. And if we know what direction the world is headed, if we don't do anything to stem the tide of evil, I think we'll be judged on our own inaction, what we haven't done. So, now it's within reason, you know, like I'm not advocating anybody, like I said, don't resort to their tactic because that'll play right into the plan. If you meet violence with violence, right? Like all these protesters did for this man who got his neck kneeled on by a corrupt cop. If you resort to the same tactics, it's not going to solve anything. And, you know, it's not what Jesus would have done. And that's my up on my soapbox today, or my pulpit, quote unquote. I mean, if another thing I came to on the way home was like, just let your will be done, Lord. And if he can use a donkey to speak truth, he can use me, and imperfect as I am. So that's what my prayer was, and hopefully it reaches some people who are willing to hear and take in some of these ideas. And hopefully we'll all get closer to God, because trial in life should just make us stronger. That's how I've tried to live for most of my life, and I think there's a fiery trial that's coming on the earth right now, and it is evil agencies, people who are motivated by evil, who are showing their true selves right now, showing their true agenda, and there's going to be backlash from that, and there's going to be a reaction. And my plea is that we just stop and ask, okay? Don't lean on our own understanding of how the world works. Just be still. Know God is God. Refresh our minds, turn off the media, and think on the good things. And then just see where God leads us. See where God leads you. And I think He will, if we're sincere and genuine. He won't lead us astray. He'll lead us into truth, and He'll tell us, one way or another, whether we're listening or not. He'll convey clearly what He wants us to do, based on the circumstances. And that will give us peace, because whereas the rest of the world will be just frozen with fear and uncertainty, we'll know, okay, this was already foretold. We've heard this. We've read this. Now what should we do? What else have we read? How should we act? How should we react? What should we be doing to prepare? When there's no time to prepare, what are the correct actions we should take? And try, despite no matter how much persecution we face, no matter how much insanity, and no matter how many of these literally mentally unstable, mentally challenged, mentally off the wall should probably be prescribed some kind of a medication or in a padded cell somewhere. When these people are up in our face, throwing accusations and whatever else at us, how should we react? Okay? And we don't go looking for it. I am not advocating that at all. And there's a lot of people who are right now. And I'm like, I know where that leads. And I know I've seen it before. And I know human nature. And I know the system, how it works. I've studied this for tens and tens of years. And you're playing right into the system. You're playing right into the game. And you label fellow Americans terrorists, okay? As soon as 9/11 hit, like the day after, I think the day maybe even, 9/11, I made the comment to a loved one that all this legislation, this terrorist legislation, will be turned on we the American people one day. And gee, look what happened. Only a few years later. Who is enemy number one? But according to all these government officials, right? Homegrown terrorism, the biggest threat. Who are the number one homegrown terrorists, you might ask? Does anybody remember out there? Yeah, it's the right-wing, nationalist, extremist, racist, whatever you want to call them. White dudes who love America and, I don't know, want to fight to protect America. Maybe. Those were the terrorists. Now, who are being labeled the terrorists? How does it feel, people on the left, to be associated with extremists, radicals, quote-unquote terrorist? And it works both ways. You know, the left-right paradigm, the political system, the dialectic, cuts both ways. It's a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword. And, stop playing the game. There needs to be justice. There needs to be law enforcement right now is what it comes down to. Okay, there needs to be policing. There needs to be everybody who wants to destroy things locked up. It's not an impossible task, okay? That's not that difficult to do. There's only so many of them. Where's the law and order? That's what I'm asking. Where is the law and order? Trump, you ran as the law and order candidate. Where's the law and order? How did I guess when he ran under that platform that we'd probably get the exact opposite? We'd probably get chaos and anarchy. Because Newspeak, the politicians, watch the State of the Union address and just substitute everything opposite of what they say, and that's probably what we're going to get because they're full of crap. And they just feed us a line. And they just tell us what we want to hear and make everything sound rosy when they actively pursue a course of further destruction of America. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Thanks everybody for watching. This is Nightwatch Nate from the new Nightwatch mobile, the Nightwatch studio. I don't know what to call it yet. Nate mobile? Nah. I wouldn't mind getting a big old emblem on the side though, or decal. That'd be pretty sweet. So if I ever do take it traveling, then I can have like my own billboard going down the highway. Get more people to watch the show, maybe. That's a great idea. But yeah, need to get it cleaned up first. Pretty dirty. I think it had mice in here at one time, but it's not so bad that it'll like make your eyes burn or anything. Just needs to be cleaned out real good. It's got, the older carpet needs to be torn out. Want to design it the way it's real unique. And again, put up the soundproofing. So it'll be like that perfect sound chamber. That's what I want to get because, I'm a purist. So when I'm creating one of the podcasts, I just want the sound to be optimal. And should be pretty fun. Probably put all my equipment in here. Good news is it has like a big metal door because I think the guy used it previously, the previous owner to the person I got it from, used it for like on-site construction work, and yeah, he built this thing. All the windows were like screwed shut and stuff, so you couldn't break in. And yeah, literally put like a full-scale metal door on the front, so that'll be perfect because I got a lot of money invested in sound equipment, to keyboard and computer and everything else. And yeah, I like the idea. I can just like literally, if I want to like create a mood or just like even mentally go somewhere else, I can literally go somewhere else. Take it with me. Take everything with me. I just have to bring like a generator probably, which wouldn't be so good for the sound, would it? The sound purity thing. Shoot. I'll have to figure that out later. Details. Work out the details. But actually, I might be able to use power from the laptop. You know what? That might work. Yeah. Sound interface, I think, yeah, can just go through the laptop, so that might work. Anyway, I'm rambling. Thanks everybody again. Sorry for talking everybody's ear off. I just had to get that out. It was something genuine, a real experience that I had on the way home, and I felt it should be shared. And I'd like to once again invite everybody to just purge for like a week. That's all I'm asking, like 1 week. Turn off the noise. You know, you don't have to turn off everything. If it's like, you know, you're watching a video on whatever, podcast, educational, something that gets you to think on a deep level, that's perfectly fine. I think that's a good thing, but that's what I try to create. Anyway, try to get people to think past the surface level, the surface layer, into the making sense of how the world works on the big picture, on the grander scale. You know, about as grand as my little brain can conceive of anyway. But got like a blackbird out there, or a crow. That must mean at the point of death. This video is almost, reached its end, I think. And I'm getting antsy, I'm getting hungry, so just thanks everybody for watching. Appreciate everybody and their support, all the subscribers so far, the likes, a couple shares, not too many shares, but hopefully there'll be many in the future, or more in the future. And I'm just trying everything I can to get the truth out, because I think the words, the ideas, truth itself is powerful. And you know, just like somebody I recently corresponded with on Facebook, you know, they made the comment that America will never fall, and I can't say from what I know from Bible prophecy that that's necessarily true. It depends on, I guess, how you define fall. But like I said, it's a worthy cause to defend our republic, because I know that without it, the world will just plunge into another dark ages, just like the previous dark ages. Literally not at all unlike the previous dark ages. And in fact, you might even say some of the same players, some of the same powers will still retake power. Study the Dark Ages, study the French Revolution. I think that's what's also coming. The battle between the classes is just going to heat up. But ultimately, it's a spiritual battle. And that's what we're feeling right now. Okay, there's the 4 winds of strife that will be unleashed. And what does wind do on water? Water is always people in the Bible, in prophecy, symbolically. When you have a hurricane, when you have a lot of winds, people, the waters get agitated, and they clash, and they splash, and they crash into each other, and whatever else is in their way. And that's what we're going to see more and more. Larger and larger groups of people driven, well, you know, by evil agencies, but full of rage and hate, and just looking find the first person they can to take out that aggression on. And ultimately, it's going to be God's people, the remnant, the few that are faithful, that will take the brunt of the lashings from the waves, from the people, from the angry mobs. That's ultimately what this great controversy between good and evil will play out and result in. And we'll face the same kind of persecution that Christ faced, and his followers and his disciples. We'll face that same kind of seemingly fearful fate if it wasn't for the fact that we knew that we have a higher purpose in this world, and we don't have to fear man, and anything man can do to us is irrelevant in the context of how great a God we serve. That's the true perspective we should have as Christians. Thanks everybody for watching. I'll get back to you soon. God bless everybody. I'm going to, close up shop for now, but I'll let everybody know my progress when I get this thing all tip-top. Should be pretty sweet, though. It's like just the perfect space for like a little office / recording studio / what am I calling it? The mobile command center. Nightwatch mobile command center. Yeah, I like that too. All right, thanks everybody. Appreciate it. Keep in touch. We'll see you. Signing out.